talking about cloning, so Monish and I do the lunch with Warren Buffett, and then, come on up on stage. This is Ardal. And so then about 5 years ago, I decide that Monish has already cloned Warren and he's doing these charity lunches. And then I decide to clone Monish, who cloned Warren, and do these charity lunches. And Ardal was the one who won the charity lunch about a couple of years ago. And I can tell you that I've learned more and gotten more value from all the charity lunches that I've done. Ardal was a particularly spectacular one, but it's amazing how I auctioned a lunch off, and I get these amazing people who come into my life that I wouldn't have otherwise met, and Ardal was one of them. I still want to meet your girlfriend. I was very grateful to meet your parents. I think you've written a wonderful book, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Guy, for the introduction. Thank you also to the wider Aquamarine team for putting on this fantastic event. And then, last but not least, thank you to everybody here in the audience that's come today, including all the ones that are watching online. So today, the subject of my talk is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be on giving back. So we're all here today in Omaha, Nebraska, because of this man that you can see on the left-hand side in the photo. And we all know that that's Warren Buffett. So he both inspired and he's taught us all so much. For me personally, Warren was the inspiration for setting up my own investment partnership called Loh-Gronager Partners. And we set that up on the principles of the original Buffett partnerships that Warren ran in the 1950s and 60s. However, we're all actually here in this room today because of the woman seated on Buffett's left-hand side. And that's his first wife, Susan Thompson Buffett. Susan was mother to their 3 children, and she was also a civil rights activist with a strong focus on promoting women's rights and those of oppressed minorities. When asked about money in their relationship, Warren said that his job was to pile it high, whereas Susan's job was to pass it out to worthwhile causes. He credited Susan with broadening his view of the world and his approach to helping those less fortunate than himself, or using his own words, making him more of a whole person. Susan encouraged Warren to give back. One of the ways that Susan did this was by introducing Warren to the Glide Foundation. So for those of you that don't know about the Glide Foundation, based in San Francisco, it's one of the leading charities in the world that tackles homelessness. So Warren was so impressed by their work that he decided to auction an annual charity lunch on eBay, with the winner, along with 5 of their friends, being invited to dine with him, and all of the proceeds from that auction going to charity. And so began the now famous annual Buffett charity lunch. The first, I only learned this when I wrote this speech, went for only $25,000 back in the year 2000. And then the final one went for just under $20 million in 2022. So in total, Warren raised over $50 million for the Glide Foundation. This is where the story of Susan and Warren intersects with our host today, Guy Spier. In 2007, Guy, along with his friend and fellow value investor, Manish Prabhai, teamed up, and they won the Buffett charity lunch famously with a winning bid of $650,100, which when the final one went for 22 or just under 20 million, seems like a bargain. A photo of which you can see from there on the right. I read a newspaper article around the time citing both Guy and Manish that stuck with me really ever since. And that was that when they were asked by a reporter why they had bought the lunch, they had said together that their sole purpose was to thank Warren for everything that he had done for them as investors. And that really struck a chord with me. Despite the seemingly simple goal, though, their now famous lunch with Warren, I think, altered both Guy and Manish's personal outlooks on life forever. When I asked Guy about this when I had lunch with him, he said that Warren encouraged them both to give back. So with this in mind, Guy and Manish took a leaf out of Warren's book and began to auction their own annual charity lunches for the benefit of worthwhile causes. Some might say this is a tad unimaginative, but I would say that this is cloning at its finest. So I won the now famous annual Spear charity lunch auction with a winning bid of $21,200 in 2022 for the benefit of UN Watch. Myself and my 3 fellow founding partners of my investment partnership There's Derek Villarreal, our Chief Risk Officer on the left, Jamie Goodman, our Chief Operating Officer, sitting next to him, myself, then Guy, and then finally our Chief Engagement Officer, Dr. Christian Jespersen, on the right. And we met with Guy in London with the sole objective of thanking him for, through his work, inspiring a new generation of investors like ourselves. When I shared this with Guy, he fully understood what I meant, and he encouraged me by saying that even as a young fund manager, it was never too early to start giving back. And this brings me back full circle to why I'm standing in front of you all here today. Giving back comes in many forms, and I've always been a strong advocate for financial literacy, both in schools and in universities, as a way of empowering the youth of today. After a chance meeting with a publisher, I decided to write my own book about my own investing journey, with the objective of demystifying the subject. Instead of being in my 70s talking down to my audience, I'd be talking directly to my audience, as we're both on the start of our respective journeys. My book, The Perceptive Investor, which many of you have got a copy on your seats here, and for those watching online, is available to purchase in all major bookstores. Apologies for the plug there, Guy. It's also audiobook is coming out soon. My book is published in conjunction with the Financial Times newspaper. They have a charitable arm called the Financial Times Financial Literacy and Inclusion Campaign. Quite a mouthful, but because we all work in finance, they've helpfully made an acronym, so it's called FT-FLIC, to whom all proceeds from the book are being donated. FT-FLIC provides free training and course materials to empower teachers with the confidence to teach basic, intermediate, and advanced financial concepts to high school and to university students. Susan, Warren, and Guy were all correct. It is never too early to start giving back. And I encourage you all here today to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Ardal. I didn't realize that this was going to be about me. I never cease to be amazed at this cloning idea, how when you clone people, you don't even know what you're going to get. You think from the outside it's one thing. So I never realized that I'd meet somebody like Ardal at the charity lunch. And I've met people who've helped me to learn so much about companies that I've invested in just because they wanted to meet me, and they gave charity, in most cases, to UN Watch. So it's been a real eye-opener for me. I want to tell you one thing about the charity lunch that I think is in my book, that Chris Davis was asked about fee structures. And I felt so terrible about the fact that I had this high fee structure coming in to the charity lunch with Warren Buffett that I changed the fee structure. And I never realized, first of all, that was a benefit for me of the lunch that I bid on. But then living in that fee structure is a completely different way of running money when you know that you're not making money off your investors, you make money with your investors. Anyway, there's an amazing man called Steve Clapham who's going to ask a question, the only question because we're short on time. I need you to know, Steve, I enjoyed so much being on your podcast. I need to invite you on mine. I haven't yet, but I will. He's the author of a wonderful book. He's also a huge advocate of financial literacy. Everybody here needs to sign up and take his courses. I've told Chantal that every analyst of mine should take his courses. I don't know what has happened to that. But anyway, I give you Steve Clapham with a question to Ardal.
I feel like I should make a speech after that. And, you know, I was going to honor the no solicitation, but thank you for that, Guy.
You're not allowed to solicit, but I'm allowed to call out what you do and solicit for you. That's totally fine.
Ardal, I just wanted to say, I mean, thank you for the support of FT-FLIC. As you know, I'm one of their big supporters. Can you just tell the room why financial literacy is important for you?
So I think when I look at my own journey, and I look at those of my peers around me, those of different levels and varying levels of success, one of the things they often have in common is financial literacy from an early age. In the UK, where we're from, it's not taught in schools. It's not taught as part of a normal or regular curriculum. And actually, one of the things that everybody has in common is that everybody has to exist in today's society. And I think if you don't get the basics of that right, you can hinder yourself throughout the remainder of your life. And when we discuss compounding, especially in an audience like this, we all understand the benefits of compounding, not just money, but also knowledge. We also understand negative compounding, from paying high interest rates on credit cards and borrowings that we can't afford. We understand both aspects of it. And I think that that's why that knowledge from an early age can set us on the right course for compounding positively when we move forward.
Thanks. And the people in this room are all financially literate, so they probably don't get this, but my great friend Russell Napier, who's a financial historian, he has a charity in the UK, and he has been doing financial literacy education in Scotland before FT Flick started. And he told me he went to the lecture where the teacher was teaching the students about financial literacy. And the first thing she said was, you mustn't take a credit card from a store. And the entire room turned around and he looked at this little girl in the corner who worked, I think it was for Zara. And of course, she was on commission to sell the kids credit cards, store credit cards. Afterwards, Russell said he saw the two girls chatting to each other, and one said to the other, no, mine's better than yours. Mine's 32.9%, and yours is only 31. That's the problem that we need to address.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Steve. Thank you, Ardal. Thank you for coming.